already saying something. There's already a story there. And as you're talking in relation to your portfolio, you're helping along to tell that story and pull someone along. There's a way, a point of entry for every spread, and for any piece of information, for any picture, for any diagram, standing alone or together with other things. How do you allow someone in to the information? And thinking about that in relation to how it is that you want someone to understand your point of view. Creating direct relationships between, dark slides, I apologize, between an overhead view of a particular site and a diagram of such, and having it at the same scale, but being able to see two different kinds of information about the same place. And this, again, if alone as an aerial would be great, beautiful, fantastic, but really, I don't really get that much from it. And with a diagram, that's fine. I get to see the program and get to see some of the details about it, but together, it allows me to have, with one reading, a fuller understanding of the place that I'm to consider in this particular book. With a lot of your projects, you have the project, you have the idea. There are phases within that project, and within those phases, there are steps and actions and ideas that you're exploring. And how that organization already that you've gone through with your project, how can that help you organize your information in this portfolio, in this book? And how that outline of your work that you've done can help you structure through, visually and verbally, how it is that you want to step through and tell your project. And of course, there's text and all of the research that you've done and how those visuals can, again, re-emphasize and bring to mind some of those things that you've done. Scale, being relative, and how that really helps you be able to pull through what you want to prioritize versus how you want to support, again, in set of images. And these systems, these diagrams, and all of these elements, again, are always inherently telling a story. How it is that you choose to tell it is that's your challenge and what you'll be doing with all of your work. And you already do that, again, with your presentations and as you've gone through your courses. But this is a place to be able to say, to look back on those thoughts and to look back on those discoveries and share them in a way that is contained within your voice.
And even if your projects didn't end the way you wanted to, you have a chance to end how you tell the story. I've had many students that have gotten to a point where they just ended up with 3 options for a project, or they didn't feel it was resolved, but they told the process of their research and their iterations and their interviews, and they got to a conclusion, and they concluded it somehow. And that's up to you guys, really. You can work on finishing it if you want to, but you can also tell it in a way that is final, even if it didn't get to being on a shelf somewhere, or if it didn't get resolved the way you might have hoped.
Because you tell what you know, and you tell what you discovered, and you tell what it is that you, again, did. And that syllabi was a great starting point, and that will allow you to be able to frame and set some of the aspects that you want to bring forth. But that's not it. The rest of the story was by you. No one wrote that down at the beginning of the semester. That didn't happen yet.
This is great. Yeah, sort of the pacing of the images and the briefing.
And how that, so again, both in relation to the sequencing of your projects and also sequencing within a project, how you can take your images and your text and how is pacing your story and spacing your story, or spacing your images and spacing your text helps you be able to weave that.
And a couple of really good ways to do this is to mock it up in black and white. Just print a couple versions of your story in a couple of different ways of telling it with different size images and text, and try it out, print it out, look at it, get some feedback from prototyping your portfolio, basically.
And that the portfolio, again, can sit alone, but most of the time it'll be you carrying it through with your voice and you telling the story to someone that's never heard it before. So even practicing that is something that you don't really do on a daily basis at all, because you don't retell all of your projects all of the time. But knowing what you say verbally versus what it is that you think that you would do visually, creating that, aligning what you would say and what you show is that storytelling. Because if you record yourself and figure out what it is that you would actually say to introduce a project, I almost guarantee that that does not follow what you have in your portfolio before. And that's probably why the conversation is either difficult at those interviews or has never really felt satisfying, because you didn't feel like it was helping you. And finding, again, that alignment between yourself and the telling of it is what you're choosing and finding here. And I keep re-emphasizing this, but it's really your point of view that you're sharing in the end. And that's why each of you will have a very different portfolio at the end of the day, and it won't necessarily look like anything that you've ever necessarily seen. You might have relationships with things that you've seen before, but it doesn't matter. Again, with any medium, whether it be a book or a website, anything, it is a temporal experience. There is a time element to all of the storytelling and all of the creative. So knowing that the reader, the watcher, the audience is going through that experience as you present your work, helping you be aware of that. Your research and your process, all of
There was a great, I'll just say this real brief story. There was a great show, I don't know if any of you saw it at MoMA, where it was a full wall of every still from the Alfred Hitchcock film Rear Window. Can anyone see it? It was unbelievable. You could see the entire movie in stills. So it was an attempt really to tell the whole story, but obviously you have to watch the movie. Anyway.
Yeah, and that is very different. That it's very different to watch and see and experience that wall of images than it is to go watch that film. And to understand that there's by changing the context and changing the presentation, you get a completely different impression of what it is that Alfred Hitchcock is doing there. And for anyone who's seen the film, you should probably, that would be a very different experience to see a wall of images of every single frame. And how it is that, how close do you have to be to the wall to experience one scene or one piece of the scene, or what it is to look at it from far away where you see the entire thing in front of you with one essentially tangible thing, when really it's a very long film that you never really hold in your hand unless it was in a DVD or a VHS. But then again, even that thing in your hand is very different from the movie itself, when you going to the theater and watching it versus seeing it at home versus going to the museum and seeing this interpretation of it. So all of your work is always being retold in every context that you see them. You have to be conscious of that in order to control what it is that you want to do with it. So just to lastly, there's a few things to consider as you consider any group of information, whether it be yours or others. Selection and editing, sequencing, combinations, relationships and resonance that's created through those combinations, and the logic of the page and how that, or the page or the layout, and how that relates to what it is that you really want to say.
And before we finish, just a couple of things to think about. This is a semester-long project. You guys are going to probably spend more than a semester on it. But take this in, and I would encourage you to do mock-ups of any of these phases of your book, even in terms of the title of the project. For me, that was a big project for my portfolio, was how do I name each project? And how would I name it in a way that is consistent, and it sounds like it came from the same person or company or organization? How do I describe each one? Is it basically that thick of type? Is it similar for every project? Is it longer? How many pictures per project? Like these things will start to, you'll start to sort of, as you dive in, as Carlos talked about when we began, as you do it, you will learn what your process, and you will learn what are the rules that you want to set up for your project. And that's what we encourage you, all of us faculty, encourage you to really dive into, and not worry about it being right away, or close to being perfect right away, but to just get it messy so that we can help you and your peers can help you, and then you can move forward and still from it get to something that you're really happy with. So, thank you, Lisa.
Okay, so everyone, hold on. Just a second.
Oh, just a couple notes. My class for Stephanie and Katie are going to meet in your regular rooms. You should all know exactly where the rooms are, so you don't go late like last week or 2 weeks ago.
Okay, and then
Hold on.
has everyone signed the sign-up sheet? It's really important People are not on the sign-up sheet, it's basically things they were not selected on. But anyone who has not signed it, first should come to the front desk.
Okay, hold on, there's a couple of other announcements. Did you have one? Okay. We will do our best to post this as soon as possible, but it should probably be in the next couple days.